Easy. Any chance A-Rod hits 30 jacks as a DH this year?
Nah, that's question stupid.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another great episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Big Easy and Jay Dash. Going to do a quick MLB update. We've been breaking down the player rankings for about 2 months.
Yeah, something like that. Forever?
Probably forever. Feels like forever. These baseball segments take forever.
I seen your eyes closed yesterday when we were recording.
I don't have to have my eyes open to talk.
But listen, we already did this segment yesterday, but
It's pure knowledge.
something you did screwed us up and
I didn't
it just
do
deleted.
anything. You're the tech guy, dude. I'm just the personality.
Well, I can't bring it back after you delete it.
I didn't delete anything.
All right, well, let's go over the teams real quick that nothing changed. We'll just mention them real quick. So if you're a fan of these teams, you don't really have to listen.
Word?
Like
Does that mean I can tune out? Because Cleveland's my favorite team.
Yeah, Cleveland, nothing changed with any of our rankings there.
Eyes
Detroit,
closed.
Kansas City, New York Yankees. And then in the NL, there's Cincinnati, Colorado, Miami, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis.
Nothing changed with the Buccos, huh? They still suck.
What do you mean they still suck? They're the best team in Pittsburgh right now.
Okay.
Pedro's beard's starting to kick in.
Looks fresh.
No, well, maybe. And it's starting to heat up
Yeah, games start tomorrow night.
tomorrow night.
Yep. But let's start with the AL here. We'll go in alphabetical order. We'll start with Baltimore. Wieters is going to open the season on a DL, and that leaves Caleb Joseph as the starting catcher to open the year. So that hurts because Wieters is one of their best hitters.
And, yeah, but how long is he going to be out?
I mean, it shouldn't be too long, but again, he's been hurt a lot, so he got to stay on the field, and this is not a good start to the season.
Oh, if Joseph, you never know. If he can, if he only has to produce for a month, maybe.
Yeah, he's hitting .333 this spring.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he can stay hot. And
he's not terrible.
Ride him out for a month or so.
Right. Now, Snyder and Pierce are expected to share right field duties to start the season. We'll see if one of them get hot and take over more of a everyday role. And then J.J. Hardy's going to start on the DL too, and that leaves either Ryan Flaherty or Everett Cabrera to fill the void. Who would you rather have? Cabrera is the guy that played for San Diego a couple years, had close to 50 stolen bases in a season. Then he got busted with PEDs and
I thought you were going
took
to
a
say you got a
suspension.
speeding ticket for running around the bases so fast.
Yeah, Dad, wrong.
PEDs, yeah, they always figure a way to cheat if they can.
Irvin Santana.
Win if you can, lose if you must,
Win
but
if you
always
can.
cheat. I keep saying it. Nobody listens.
Whoever hits the ball is going to fill in the position.
I'd rather go with Cabrera myself.
Well, we'll see.
There's too many Cabreras in baseball. I can't keep track of all of them.
Yeah, but just because his last name's Cabrera don't mean he's a Triple Crown winner.
All right, let's go to the Boston Red Sox. Now, remember we were talking about that Blake Swihart? He could
Swizzer, Blake
Yeah.
Swizzle.
Well, we were saying they have a good young catcher who's excellent defensively in Christian Vasquez, but he's having Tommy John surgery, and he's done for the season.
He's out.
But they're not going to bring up Swihart immediately. They're going to let Ryan Hannigan take the starting role, and then they just traded for Sandy Leon as a backup.
What I don't know anything about Sandy Leon. That name don't even strike a...
Sounds like a girl.
Sandy
Is he a girl?
No,
What's
he
his
is
story? You
not
have
a
any idea
female.
about? You have any idea about him?
I believe he played for the Mariners at one point.
Where was he born? When's his birthday? What's his horoscope sign?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
We had to, our researcher. We don't have our researcher with us tonight.
Now,
He got the night off.
another thing with Boston is I had Mookie Betts in right field in our player rankings, and he's going to be playing center field. I had Rusney Castillo in center field. He got sent to the minors. That's your boy.
Yeah.
Easy. Victorino is going to be starting in right field.
Take money.
Still a good outfield. Either way.
Yeah.
But Victorino, he needs to go, and they need to bring up Castillo.
We'll see how long that lasts him down in the minors.
Yeah, it can't be too long. They're paying him tons of money to be down there. All right, let's go to the Chicago White Sox. Micah Johnson and Carlos Sanchez are still battling for the second base job. Looks like Micah Johnson has the lead right now. Both are going to make the 25-man roster. I like both these guys. They're young. They're having good springs. But Michael Johnson has tons of speed. He had over 80 stolen bases one season in the minors.
I heard Ice Cube's going to try to buy a stake in the team so he has unlimited access to their hats.
All right. Like we said, Cleveland and Detroit, no changes. Let's go to the Houston Astros. Jake Marisnick is expected to start in center field now instead of left field. And I had Rasmus in center field. He'll be moving over to left field. So those two are just switching.
The old okey doke.
The old switcheroo.
Please believe. I like this move because Marisnick's younger and he still has more upside ahead of him, more potential. Colby Rasmus, we know what he does. I'd rather have him in left field, see what Marisnick can do in center.
He's got a cool ass name. Might as well try him out.
Like I said, Kansas City, everything is the same with them.
You go to the World Series, you either get better or stay put.
Okay, so there's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
It's a tongue twister. Can you say it 5 times fast?
I don't want to try now.
All right.
So I guess
Loser.
not. Hamilton, he's injured right now, but
Straw stuck in his nose.
yeah, he's not expected to take any suspension for any of the drug problems.
Such bullshit.
Yeah.
He does drugs and admits it, and they're like, "Oh, you're all right."
Yeah, who cares? Do what you want, man.
It's garbage.
You're no good at baseball anyways. But they're going to put Matt Joyce and Colin Cowgill in left field to platoon to start the season, at least until Hamilton comes back. But I could see Joyce keeping the role if he hit well. A change that just happened yesterday that we didn't mention on the deleted segment is Johnny Giavotella beat out Josh Rutledge and Grant Green for the second base job in Los Angeles. So that's a surprise right there to me. I didn't see that coming at all.
Fantasy sleeper.
I wouldn't go that far.
Uh-oh.
Because, I mean, Rutledge and Green aren't the greatest second basemen to begin with.
Right.
But let's go to the Minnesota Twins. The only thing I had here is I had Aaron Hicks starting in center field. I had him ranked 15th. They optioned him to Triple-A, and they're going to go with either Jordan Schaefer or Shane Robinson. They're both going to play a little bit until one outperforms the other. But that'll be their two starting center fielders to start the season. They have the number one prospect in baseball, center fielder Byron Buxton, who will hopefully come up at some point. All right, the New York Yankees did nothing. I don't like the Yankees. No one here likes the Yankees besides Jim.
This guy, fans, you can't see it, but I'm raising my hand.
All right, so there's the Oakland Athletics. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Mark Canha made the 25-man roster. He should see some time at first base and DH, and he can play some outfield too, actually. But he's having a big spring, and he could actually start to take time away from Ike Davis or Billy Butler at first.
I think Billy Beane has multiple personalities, and that's why this team's always in a state of flux.
Yeah, well,
Depends on which Billy Beane shows up that day.
Double B.
Reddick is going to miss the start of the season. They're going to put Zobrist in right to start the season. Eric Sogard will start at second base. Oakland fans love Eric Sogard. He's not the greatest player in the world, but he gets the job done.
My boy Coco Crisp starting the season on the DL, though.
Yeah, that actually puts Billy Burns on the 25-man roster, and I like this guy. He's sort of like a white Ben Revere, only he can take a walk a little bit better.
Decent K rate.
Yeah, his K rate isn't terrible. He had a real high walk rate in the minors in 2013. It went down a little bit last season. Gentry, Burns, and Fold will cover between left and center field until Crisp returns, though. And Chris will be playing left field instead of center field when he does return. All right, Seattle Mariners. Brad Miller won the starting shortstop job by default. Chris Taylor broke his wrist in the spring.
That hurts.
I like both those guys. They're both young. I think Taylor has a little bit more upside, but Miller has a little bit too, and he needs to get back to his 2013 numbers. He had a real bad season last year. That's it with Seattle. So Tampa Bay. Nick Franklin is going to miss the start of the season. He was either going to play shortstop or second base. He has an oblique strain.
Beat oblique.
That makes Logan Forsythe the second baseman to start the season. We've seen him in previous season. He's an okay baseball player. Nothing great about him.
Yeah. Mediocre.
At best.
Yeah.
Texas Rangers. Ryan Rua has won the starting job in left field over Smolinski. I had Smolinski as the 15th left fielder in the American League. I actually like Ryan Rua, so I think this is an upgrade.
Would he be considered a fantasy sleeper?
Yeah, he is a fantasy sleeper.
Double R.
In the minor leagues, he was playing some third base early. They moved him over to first base. He can still play a little bit of first base now, but when he came up to the bigs, they wanted to put him in left field because really, he's not going to start over Prince Fielder at first base.
Right.
The Toronto Blue Jays. My man Devon Travis won the starting second base job. That young prospect they got. He's 24 years old. He's not a young prospect, but he's still a prospect, and he's still young. But in terms of prospects, he's not young. But I like this guy. He can hit 300. He has double-digit pop and double-digit speed, so he's definitely a fantasy sleeper. Michael Saunders is expected to open the season on a DL. That leaves Kevin Pillar to take over left field until he returns. Michael Saunders is always on a DL.
Yeah, Mike, you better figure out a way to get back onto the field.
Get those PEDs pumping through your veins,
You
dude.
find something, put on some cream.
But that's it with the AL. That's all the changes from the player rankings we did in the AL. So let's move on to the National League. Let's start off with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Easy, your boy Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah.
He lost the third base job to Jake Lamb.
It's a
That's
shame.
who I was talking about to you guys earlier. Lamb is the guy I claimed after someone dropped him, so I'm kind of pumped I picked him up. He's young. He has some power.
No 3B for our boy YT.
Don't give me that crap, man.
I think Lamb's overrated.
He could be, but
Overrated, I guess. Whatever. I'm
all right.
going to
but
overrate him because he's
listen,
garbage.
Tomas can still win the job, left field job, but that would push David Peralta out of the lineup,
Yeah.
which I don't know if I like that or not. I'd rather give Tomas some time in the minors, personally. But Peralta's a pretty good hitter in his own right. Give Tomas some time in the minors, let him come up when he's ready, and then he can ball out like you want him to.
Yeah.
Your boy Tuffy Ghostwitch, too. You like the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I guess.
He's won the starting catcher job over
There's
Gerald Laird.
sleeper. Well, Gerald Laird,
He's a Laird ass.
he's on his way out.
Papa Laird. A move that just happened yesterday after we recorded the deleted segment. Another thing. Aaron Hill is actually moving to a bench role. Owings is going to move over from shortstop to second base, and Nick Ahmed is going to be the starting shortstop.
Ahmed, huh?
That's surprising to me, really, because Aaron Hill's been a pretty good baseball player for a while.
He's just struggling right now.
Well, he's not going to get a chance to break out of it.
No, he will not.
I'm sure he'll
If
still
someone-
see some playing time.
Injuries.
He can play
injuries
third
occur.
base, too.
Yeah, injuries occur, so you never know.
All right, the Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta.
Surprisingly, Jace Peterson has won the second base job out there, and that's sending Alberto Calaspo to the bench. Jace Peterson's a young prospect that came up with the San Diego Padres, and he's having a great spring. So he has some fantasy potential in him too, actually.
Yeah.
Eric Young Jr., he's beat out Melvin Upton for the center field job. Good old Melvin now.
That's a shame. What happened to him?
I don't know. I think he changed his name to Melvin, so it's not BJ anymore because he was blowing.
Now they're just going to give him Melvins all the time.
We'll find out. He might make a comeback.
His name's Melvin. He's garbage.
I don't know. He's terrible. He strikes
out
out
of there.
so much.
Put him on
Another
the
guy that
Pirates.
strikes out a ton is Javier Baez for the Chicago Cubs. They option him to the minors, so that leaves either LaStella or Alcantara to play second base. One of them could play third. They got Mike Olt at third base to play too because they sent Chris Bryant to the minors too for a little while so they can gain an extra year of control of him. Pretty much the main reason because it looks like he's ready.
Spring training is spring training. Just because you blow up spring training don't mean you're gonna make it. I understand they're holding him back because of whatever those other reasons, but just because you blow up spring don't mean you're a freaking superstar already, people.
Oh, yeah, you're
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
but Chris Bryant is one of those can't-miss prospects. He has tons of power.
Well,
He could
he's
hit-
already missed making the roster this year.
Yeah, miss making the
Burn.
roster. He'll be up soon
Block
enough,
you,
don't
Chris
worry.
Bryant. We don't care about you or Chicago.
Garbage.
Pittsburgh, we dominate this division this year.
I picked the Cardinals to win.
You picked Chicago to take second place, though.
Did you pick Peyton Manning to win the Super Bowl, too?
No.
No?
All right, Cincinnati and Colorado, we said no changes there. The Los Angeles Dodgers, they signed that Cuban second baseman / third baseman Hector Olivera, like we predicted way back when we did the third base segment. But he's not going to start in the major leagues either. He's going to make a ton of money and play in the minors, but it should be like a month, and he should be able to come up and help the team, and maybe eventually take over the third base job from Uribe. But Kendricks only has 1 year left on his deal too, so possibly next year he could take over second base.
LA definitely sees something in him to give him that cash.
I like him. He's a good hitter.
Hector.
In Cuba, he walked more than he struck out. That's always a good sign. So he could be a pretty good baseball player for him.
I don't care what he did in Cuba.
All right, the Miami
Done with Cuba.
The Miami Marlins and Milwaukee Brewers, nothing there, like we said. The
Garbage.
New York Mets, they're actually moving Kadire to left field and putting Granderson in right field. So they're flipping those two.
Both of them are garbage.
It doesn't make sense to
Okey-doke
me.
again.
Granderson is used to left field. Kadire's used to right field.
Are we talking about Curtis Granderson?
Yeah,
He's garbage.
he's garbage, huh? Kadire can still
He's
hit.
like 40 years old, ain't he?
He's not that old, I don't think, but he's getting up there quick.
Yeah.
He's not the same player he was when he played for the Yankees
Who's better, Curtis Granderson or
in Detroit.
no Granderson or who's that dude who plays for he always used to play for the St. Louis?
John Jay?
No, they traded him to New York.
Carlos Beltran?
Yeah, who's better, Beltran or Granderson?
Beltran?
All right. Yeah, they're whack this year. New York ain't going nowhere. Neither's Philadelphia.
I don't know. I think they're a sleeper team. They got
Who? New York?
New York Mets. They got a good pitching staff, man.
New York.
No. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Philadelphia Phillies. Dominic Brown's going to start the season on a DL. They actually are going to move Revere from center field to left field, which is nice because remember us saying his arm doesn't play well in center field, so they're going to move him to left, which is going to help him. And that Odubel Herrera won a 25-man roster spot with him this spring, and he's going to start in center field for him.
Odubel.
And
he earned it.
surprisingly, Sizemore, like we projected over a month ago, is still going to be the starting right fielder. Your very own Pittsburgh Pirates, no changes. We knew what they were going to do.
Yeah. They should send that Korean to A-ball is what they should do.
The San Diego Padres. Will Middlebrooks won the starting job over Solarte at third base.
Mediocre K rate.
Terrible K rate. But he does have power. So if he can keep his average up around 240, 250, he could put up 25 home runs for you.
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure he can do it because of all the Ks. But Solarte, he's still going to be on the team. He's going to play a utility role. He can play several positions. And then I had Matt Kemp in center field and Will Myers in right field. Those two are going to flip.
Now, what do you think about that? It's probably a good idea, right?
Well, Myers played mostly right field over the past few years, so it's
Yeah, but
going to
he
be
could probably
new to
cover
him.
more ground.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're saying Kemp's defense fell off greatly.
Had to have.
But he
After
knows
his
center
PED
field better.
stint.
I don't think he didn't get busted for
Oh, he
PEDs.
did drugs to get all handsome. I know that. He does Botox. Botox is a PED.
San Francisco Giants. Pence is going to start the season on a DL with a broken forearm. That leaves a combination of Gregor Blanco and Justin Maxwell to cover right field.
Doesn't Gregor Blanco blast a huge chaw out in his mouth every time, dude?
I'm not quite
I
sure.
swear, I could have sworn if I see him at bat, and it looks like he looks like he has a baseball in his mouth when he's at bat.
Maxwell
Chewing
has a little
straight
bit of
down.
pop in him, but not too much. Blanco's probably the better player, but really neither one compares to Pence.
Not really an impressive spring for San Francisco overall, but it is what it's spring. You don't have to shine.
St. Louis Cardinals, no changes there. And then the last team, the Washington Nationals. There's a lot going on here. Our number one National League third baseman, Anthony Rendon, is going to start the season on a DL. They really haven't decided what they're going to do at third base yet. They've tried Yunel Escobar there a little bit during the spring. We'll have to see. That they haven't made a decision yet. Jason Worth is going to start the season on a DL. That hurts for him. That could move Harper to right field, put Tyler Moore in left field, and then Bernard Span in center field is going to start on the DL too. But they do have a good prospect in Michael Taylor, who has good pop and speed potential, though he does K a little bit too much and doesn't take enough walks. But he's going to be starting in center field to start the season. So that a lot of their best players are already out. We say they're the best team in the National League.
Yeah.
Their whole offense is struggling right now.
Well, let them go on a couple 10-game losing streaks to start the season. That'll help.
It will help. But that's it. That's all the changes from all the segments we did.
That's all there is, and there ain't no mo.
Sounds good. I'm getting ready for this season. Tomorrow night, start off with the beat Cincinnati, or
St. Louis Cardinals
and
versus Cubs. Yes.
Yeah. Should be the Pirates versus the Cardinals. Cubs
You're
are
dead
garbage. Just because they got a new coach and some new young players. Oh, it's the Cubs now. Pirates should be the first game of Sunday night baseball. I'm tired of it.
Please believe.
We earned it.
They're barely allowed to be on Sunday Night Baseball, let alone be the first game.
Pirates are the most impressive team in that division.
Thank you guys for coming in studio. Thank you, fans, for listening. You guys could follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You could follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Buccos, let's get it.